Welcome back to Billy Bakes. Today I'm going to be talking all about sourdough starter and what I do for mine. Right now it's in the fridge, so I'm going to pull it out. I probably need to put it in a new jar and give it some love. I'll feed it, let it grow, and I'll just show all that. So the sourdough starter was invented during COVID times. I don't know, I was doing it before it was cool, so I'm kind of a sourdough hipster. I kind of sucked at it, but you know, whatever. Anyways, this jar is ugly. I'm gonna switch it out for this jar. What I wanna do, put the new jar on, tear that weight so I know exactly how much I have in here. I'm gonna put it in there. I'm kind of in an abusive relationship with this starter. I forget it, leave it in the fridge for weeks, and then like, oh yeah, I'll make a sourdough, so then I use it. You get like a layer of black liquid on top, and that is called hooch. Hooch and mama. It's fine. It's just saying, I'm hungry, feed me. And so today, I've got this sourdough starter we got from a friend. That's probably the easiest place to do it. If you want to start your own sourdough starter, you can. I'd say get it from a friend who already has an established one, and then you feed it yourself and make it what you want it to be. So I have 188 grams of starter. I want more starter for the bread I'm going to make this weekend, so I'm not going to throw too much away, and I'll probably just add equal parts flour and water to that. So I'll probably just do 188 grams of flour, 188 grams of water. And if that's wrong, I don't care, because it's gonna work anyways. You can kind of abuse the starter. There's not really many ways you can kill it other than maybe letting it mold, and even then you can still probably bring it back. They're pretty versatile. So I'm gonna feed this bad boy and then let it grow, just leave it there. When I first started doing sourdough, I would do 100% whole wheat and it just wouldn't work. It was too heavy to support itself. It made really good dough, but it was always too dense. So I've started using bread flour, high-grade flour, and now I use rye. Rye helps it rise a lot faster. I think the fermentation time for rye is quicker than just regular white flour, and it also gives it a good flavor. I usually just do 1 scoop of rye. It doesn't need too much. I forgot to tear it. Oops. This is the easiest thing I found to stir it with, just the end of a spoon. Hopefully there's enough room for this to rise. That's why I use these bigger jars. There's plenty of room, and I usually get to it before it overflows. For some reason on YouTube and Instagram, people show their sourdough starting like bubbling over the edge. Why? Like, that's just a mess. Like, why would you do that? So I like to have it this kind of stringy texture, maybe a little wetter than pancake dough, but it's pretty close. As it sits, it'll kind of incorporate. I can do a little bit more stirring. That's pretty good. And I just throw a lid on top. I don't turn it. I just lightly have it so it can kind of let the air exchange in and out. And then I just leave it there. It's not too difficult. Look how much that's grown. It's pretty cool. All the recipes say to test your starter in some water and do a float test. Let's see if that actually works.
It's gonna be embarrassing if it doesn't.
That's floating. That's floating.
There's a floater.
It's floating. Look at that. So, I have also used starter when it doesn't float at all. Sometimes you can just use it for the flavor if you're making something like pancakes or sourdough muffins or naan bread. And if you're gonna throw yeast in there too, just to help it raise, you don't even need like the raising properties of it. If you're seeing bubbles in it, you're probably okay. But if it does float too, that helps. When we do whole wheat starter, I don't think it would ever float. It's just too heavy. But this is pretty good right here. Pretty good. So as I mentioned before, you can make it yourself, but it takes a while to get it mature. You have to do a lot of feeding and then throwing away, discarding a lot of the starter. So it is a very long process, not too difficult, but it just takes a while for the yeastiness and this sourdough bacteria to kind of get alive, to take over. So that's why I say just get it from a friend. It's a lot easier. I just feed it either 50 flour, 50 water, and then stir it up, or I just do equal parts. So whatever starter's left, then that much water, that much flour. That's what I do. Once it's nice and mature, you don't really have to discard it. If you are trying to keep it alive and maybe get it more soury, and you don't use it every day, and you don't want to throw it in the fridge every day, then maybe you can discard or should discard. But if I'm gonna be making a sourdough today, I'm gonna use a chunk of it, then I'm gonna throw this in the fridge. And in the fridge, it slows down the process, and then you can pull it out and just feed it, and it'll be up and ready in a day. That's what I did here. This is after 3 days in the fridge. So that's my sourdough starter. What am I gonna make with this one? Probably English muffins and 1 loaf of sourdough. We'll see. I always try to leave a little bit left so I can make more. Honestly, you can probably leave, I safely say 50 grams of sourdough starter to start your next adventures. So I've gotten pretty close with that. I think I've gotten 25, and it was pretty terrifying. You don't want to run out. Maybe have like a secret hidden one in the back of the fridge. I think I actually have one. I'll have to check. Probably neglected. Anyways, so that's starter. I probably made a lot of mistakes in my information. I'm not a pro. I also don't think that sourdough needs to be treated as like, oh, the hardest thing in the kitchen. No, it's simple. It's been around for a very long time. You can figure it out. And it takes a lot of trial and error, even for people who have worked with it a lot. It takes a lot of time. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.